Some of you made some great comments under my recent Fluval FX-6 opening video where I opened it up after running it for a year. And I just want to comment on some of those, a sort of full disclosure about that video so you have a good working understanding of what was going on with that filter. Your comments actually got me to take notes, and I like working off of notes. But I thought that I owed you perhaps a little more information about what was going on with that filter than was covered in the video. So the first thing to keep in mind is that what's going into that FX-6 is being, to some degree, blocked by a pre-filter, which holds on to it until it can get through the filter. So what it means is that any detritus or junk or gunk or food that gets attached to it, which by the way gets pecked off by the fish, and that saves you some money on your food cost, but whatever sticks to it will hang on to it until it becomes small enough to get through the filter and into the, through the pre-filter and into the canister. So what you find in the canisters, you find this sort of pulverized black dust. And as a side note, that pre-filter is taken off and rinsed probably every 2 to 3 weeks. I take that pre-filter off and I rinse it under running water like you saw in the original video. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is that that FX-6 is really being used as a polishing filter. The heavy lifting in this aquarium behind me, this 300 gallon, the heavy lifting in this aquarium, the heavy filtering is being done by a 40 gallon sump system underneath the aquarium, which has 12 inches, has 3 4-inch wide matten sponges that I picked up from Swiss Tropicals, and the water dumps into that at the rate of about, conservatively, because I've got 2 Cichlids 5.0 silent Synchro pumps on that sump, right? It's what we call a 2-heart system, right? So it's a backup, one pump fails, the other one keeps going. So I've got those 2 pumps on there, and they're turning over conservatively, even when you consider head pressure, right? The amount of gallons per hour that you lose by the water traveling up the hoses to the aquarium, right? Fighting gravity. I'm still getting about 2,000 gallons an hour of water turnover from those 2 pumps. The pumps are rated at about 1,321 gallons per hour. So you have that times 2, right? That puts us over 2,600 gallons per hour. So I'm being very conservative when I say 2,000 gallons an hour are being turned over in this aquarium and going through a filter sock, which is a type of pre-filter, right, of its own kind, and then going through those 12 inches, 3 4-inch matten sponges, and then being pumped up back to the tank. So that's doing the heavy lifting, and so the canister is more of a polishing filter. And this also speaks to a comment that some of you made, which was, why no biomedia in the canister? And there is no biomedia. Even though when you buy a canister, when you buy the FX-6 from Fluval, they'll put in some of their Fluval ceramic rings. So you know that they're recommending it, right? They also recommend the egg crate sponges. They include egg crate sponges with their filters. So they must have done some research and found that those were superior. And that's what I'm using usually, are egg crate sponges with more surface area. But there's no biomedia in there for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1 is that my most stable and main biomedia is an undisturbed deep substrate. That the deep substrate, this aquarium, is what hundreds and hundreds of pounds of aragonite and crushed coral is what makes up this substrate, and that is not vacuumed. It's moved around by the fish when they build their pits, but for the most part it is left entirely alone, and it is the home of the beneficial bacteria, the most stable beneficial bacteria home. And it takes a while to establish that, probably 6 to 9 months, but once it's established, it's a rock solid and stable home for your beneficial bacteria. You're not messing with it like you do with filter media when you rinse it, things like that, right? So now, add to that the fact that there's a lot of Cichlids. I was sent some of the Sarah Cichlids media from Sarah. My friends over at Sarah sent me a big box of it. So I figured, what the heck? I'm all about really sponges in my filters, but I've got the Cichlids anyway, I might as well use it. So I put it into that 40 gallon breeder that serves as a sump. So you've got all the beneficial bacteria growing in the substrate. You have the beneficial bacteria that's growing on the sponges, which is a great home for your bacteria, and you have the Cichlids media. I am not worried about beneficial bacteria in this aquarium. It has, it's completely stable. This all stemmed from, that's impossible, or that's insane, or how in the world is that FX-6 so clean? After it running for a year, when I opened mine after 3 months, right, and it looks like a hippo had a baby in it. All of that being said, after all that being said, I want to add this one important point. Back in California, I was running a peacock tank, a 100-gallon peacock tank, and the only filter on it was the Fluval FX-6 with a pre-filter, the same pre-filter I have here, that same sponge. They're pretty indestructible, they last forever. And that canister was running 9 months, minimum 9 months, and it was looking pretty darn good when I'd open it up. So there's two sides to this coin. On the one hand, yes, that FX-6 looks great because it has a lot of other support filtration, or the primary filtration is occurring with the sump, and the tremendous gallons per hour turnover in the sump. Yes, also the pre-filter by itself does do a great job. That pre-filter is holding on to waste, holding it until it's pretty much turned into a powder and it's pulverized and goes into the filter, and it's holding on to the big pieces of junk like food that would normally just get sucked right into the filter. It's holding on to the food and allowing the fish to come around and peck it off, so not sending just huge chunks of food into the filter. And I think that makes a big difference as well. So there you have it. I hope I've addressed your questions. That's really the full disclosure on that FX-6, because I don't want you to open up yours in 3 months and see that it's completely, looks like a mudslide, and go, I don't get it. I just don't get it. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and as I like to say, if it's what's working for you, keep doing what's working for you, and don't think that results that I get or that anyone gets are the results you'll get in your unique circumstances. Every aquarium, every circumstance is unique, and we got to keep that in mind. And if your setup is working, don't change a thing. Let it keep working, and don't listen to some dude on YouTube. All right, any questions or comments, share them below. I'll be happy to take them up. And that's it from me. I hope to see you on Saturday at the Cichlids Coffee live stream. That's every Saturday at 11 o'clock. Most Saturdays, I do take holiday weekends off, but 11 a.m. Central Time, that's 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern. And if you'd like to support the channel further, consider becoming a Patreon. It's a monthly supporter, starts for as little as $3 a month, and really helps out. And of course, you watching, you giving the video a thumbs up, you commenting, all those things really help the channel considerably, and you are greatly appreciated for doing that. All right, that's it for me. And check out this. I have a whole playlist on Fluval filters. I have another playlist on canisters, and a playlist on my best fish keeping tips down here. And if you want to subscribe, hit me in the mug right there. All right, thank you, my friends. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.